How's it going, everybody? Whispers from the Void here. I'm Evan.
And I'm Phil, Davidas for Intimate. Thanks for tuning in, folks!
It's that time of the year again. If you guys live under a rock or don't care about us or what we do, then, that's your prerogative, but very sad. You miss out on some good stuff. But we put out our top 10 lists. We had an episode with Matt on his podcast, Vox&Hops. Highly recommend you guys go check that out. You'll be able to see our published lists on his platform. And with us today, we have our teammates, we'll say, in the Vox&Hops music review crew. We have with us James and the metal architect himself, Jerry Monk. How are you doing, guys?
What's up, guys?
Hey, everyone. Happy to be here.
So today, just like we did last year, we're probably going to dumb it down, make it a little less confusing, because last year I saw that once we posted our own lists of the same 10 bands, it confused a lot of people. So all we're going to do is just talk about it today. We won't post the lists or anything like that. You'll just have to listen. We'll probably do something after, but just to make it less confusing for the masses.
Yeah, so like what we are doing, so it's again less confusing. We are doing a top where we pick out on all the albums that we add on our top with Matt. We pick out 10 albums randomly and we do a top 10 with those. And I know the confusing part was, we are doing our own top 10. Maybe I will do mine. I don't know. Maybe we will do ours with those. But yeah, like instead of just posting all of them, I think we'll post the first one, which is this one that we are doing right now. Mm-hmm. And maybe at the end of the year, or I don't know, we'll do the rest if we want to and if we have time to. So yeah.
Very good.
So let's begin, boys. But before that, I know it's morning for a lot of us, except James, because James is in Germany and it's already afternoon.
Yeah.
But we have drinks or coffee or whatever, or something. I'm crazy. You know what? Let's start with our guest over here. Jerry or James, who is beginning?
Are we talking about what we're drinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I'm having. So I remember on Matt's podcast, I was having a beer from this brewery, Propeller Bier. So this is their IPA, because their Imperial Stout is super good. So I thought I'd pick up their IPA, and it's good, but I should have bought the Imperial Stout because it's better. This is still good. It's not it's a sort of classic American style IPA. It's got like a lot of mango and stuff on the nose. It's very pleasant. 6.5%.
All right. And you, Jerry?
I have, since it's 8 o'clock in the morning here, I have some Topo Chico, which is a mineral water, and it's got some lime flavoring in it as well. So that's what I'm going with. I just woke up like an hour ago, so there's no way I could drink a beer right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I completely understand you. And you, Evan? Coffee?
I got pumpkin coffee that I made.
Ooh, perfect. And I am the crazy one because I'm dumb, because I did a beer trip. But I'm still dumb because, well, I'm very, very lazy to make a coffee. So I have a Jumansmooth, which is a smoothie sour. In 9 o'clock in the morning, I have to repeat it.
Gotta start early. Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Exactly. So let's start it, boys. I would just put that in my glass, and it's the wrong glass, but I don't care. But yeah. All right. So let's pick up the hat, shall we?
The first selection. The first couple are going to be pretty straightforward.
And so, just to say it to people at home, I don't look at the hat. I'm looking like over here. I have the first one, and I don't look at it until now. Oh, I think, Evan, you will like this one.
Oh, yeah?
It's Sky Pig.
Sky Pig!
It thrives in darkness. First one to be picked out of the hat.
So, James, I want to... You listened to Sky Pig. You had some commentary on it. What did you think of the album?
I didn't like it. I don't want to be too blunt. I mean, look, it's... I mean, what can I say? The thing is that I think I described it as sort of Southern rock mastodon, and I like Southern rock stuff. Particularly things like, Down and whatnot. And I like old Mastodon, but I don't dig Mastodon these days. So the Sky Pig was it wasn't working for me. So sorry, I don't have much more to say about it, but I gave it a shot.
Jerry?
What is the title of that one?
It thrives in darkness.
With the like crazy artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I think out of all the ones I listened to, so I went back to some of the ones that I had listened to and just listened to a few tracks to refamiliarize myself with them. But I really enjoyed the Sky Pig. The riffs were fucking heavy and sludgy and thick, and sometimes with that style of bands, the vocals turn me off, but the vocals kind of were more raspy and fit the music a bit better than some of those like just shout yelling type vocals that you get with these bands. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was really good. I was disappointed I hadn't heard it before then.
Phil?
Well, you'll be disappointed because I haven't listened before because so much album. But I just listened a couple of notes. Like Jerry said, it's very sludgy. I haven't heard the vocals yet, but I mean, like if I do my own top, maybe it will be good. But yeah, for now, what I heard, it's very sludgy, and I love sludge. So for me, it's pretty good. I don't know where we will put it at the end, but for now, let's say it's number one because it's the only one that we picked out.
I should say I shouldn't be so negative because it is really well produced, and
surprisingly surprisingly
the guitar sound, the guitar tone, and the sound of the guitars in the sludgy parts, the southern rock parts, that is really, really good. So I think it's more just that it's the what the band are doing musically isn't kind of my thing, but it sounds great.
All right.
When I first heard Sky Pig, I instantly thought of Crowbar.
Mm-hmm.
I thought of Crowbar, and I thought of like a band like Soylent Green.
Oh
yeah.
And that's kind of like, that sort of like deep Louisiana sludge that comes out of there is sort of how I immediately felt. And then just adding the doom, I thought was a nice twist, but it's really the guitars that got me. I thought that I love that tone. And I just thought that, for what the album is and what they were able to do, I thought it was pretty well done, and it was definitely worth being on there.
All right. So it's number one for the moment. Let's go on the next one. And I don't look at it. I have two. I don't look. All right. The second. Another Evans album.
We don't plan this. We don't.
We all plan this. It's only Evans' album.
Phil's going to such great lengths to try and demonstrate the ethical integrity of this process, but it's being undermined by the fact that only Evans' albums are coming
Next
out.
time, we're going to make one of you do it. Next time, you guys are going to pull.
It's...
Because I did it last year. It ended up being
right.
mostly my stuff, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Fix is in. The fix is in.
Yeah. So it's Moontooth photo trip.
Oh.
So this
Oh
one,
man,
So
this
this
was
one I-
controversial.
So this one I can talk about it because, yeah, it wasn't on my top, but we did a review about it. Go check out the review, guys. And it was very good. Like, I really liked the vocals. The instrumental was great. But there was so much album on the list that I was like, you know what? I know Evan will put it on his top, so let's just like let him get it. And I have so much album, so I'm like, yeah, let's let it out for a moment. But now it's here again in the top.
All right, can I start?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Go
Sorry,
for it.
because I'm really fucking stupid. So I went and I listened to these albums and I made notes on them. And so when we started talking about Skypig, those
You
were my
read-
notes on Moontooth.
Yep.
So it's the Moontooth album that I wasn't a fan of. I actually really like the Skypig. So apologies to Skypig. Because I while we were talking about it, you were talking about all this sludgy stuff. I'm like, hang on. So I went on Skypig's Bandcamp and started playing it, and I'm like, this is a lot better than I fucking remember. Yeah, it was Moontooth that I didn't dig, but I think also when I told Evan which of his albums I didn't like, I think it was Moontooth. Okay, so I'm just a fucking idiot. And now apologies to Moontooth. I didn't like your album. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. No, I did listen to it, and so what I said previously about Skyping will apply it to Moontooth. So I think I didn't really dig the vocals with this. The guitar work is really solid. The song structures are not my thing, and the vocals didn't really do it for me. But that's just my take.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with James. Immediately when the vocals started, I said, no. I made it. I made it about halfway through, and I was just like, that's enough. Like he said, the instrumentals are great. Like the guitar work is really, really good. I kind of likened it to Polyphia, but playing like more 90s alt rock type stuff. And I mean, I dug it musically, but the vocals just absolutely killed it for me. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
No worries.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm not one of those like extreme metal guys like just keep clean vocals. Like I don't care. Like I just those just didn't. I don't know, something about it didn't
Yeah.
sit right with me.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like it fit in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's my only complaint was the vocals.
Phil.
well, like I said, it's very good album. I can understand the vocal part. I'm a fan of pretty much all vocals in a way. It always depends on what though. But this album, I don't know, it felt very. I was like, the instrumental is fucking heavy, man. It was fucking heavy, but I was like, the vocals goes in, I'm like, it's weird. But then I was like, it's not bad after all. So I was like, yeah, it's pretty good album. But like I said, it wasn't on my top because I was like, so much better album were like in my top. So, but I can understand why Evan likes it. So yeah.
So, Moontooth has always been like this dirty pleasure band of mine. They're the milk chocolate of my metal, and like my extreme music. Being at that, I saw them when they first really like started touring, and they were like a first supporter band. And so watching them kind of pick up steam. The thing about Moontooth is they've always sort of been in like their own little category for me because of the way they do their vocals. But I've also always felt that way about like Every Time I Die when they were a band. Or a band like Dillinger Escape Plan. Like these are bands that just kind of have like their own uniqueness where they kind of like, you can't fit them in one spot or another. And so it's very hard to sort of categorize them. It's also something I appreciate about them because I think that a lot of time in music, we like to throw people in genres and we have to categorize them. And I've always appreciated how people get upset when they can't, like when you just can't pinpoint it, and then it just like drives you nuts. Because it's funny because if you go back to like their earlier stuff, they were borderline hardcore. And the last album, Crux, was arguably, like, some people say it wasn't as good, but that's because they were like, you know, more melodic and progressive, when Crux was way more raw. And even like in the last song, they displayed harsh vocals, and it sort of like throws you through a loop. After hearing the whole album, you get to the end, and that's how they present it. So like they have the stuff to do it. They've just always kind of fit in this little box that they've made for themselves. And so this album was purposely meant to be more life and the process, photosynthesis, basically. And it brings life, and it's progressive, and it has feeling, you know. And so that's why I've always loved it and appreciated it. The vocals for me, it was weird when I first heard it. I didn't like it at first, but it does grow on me because I'm so into what they are as a band.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So for the moment, it's second, because there's half of us that didn't like it, half of us that liked it. So it's second, behind Skypig. Let's hope for the next one it's not Evan's choice.
You guys are never gonna have me back on this fucking thing again.
No, I mean, like,
because I'm
it's
like
kind of funny.
fucking listening to Skypig again, and I'm like, this rules. I'm such an asshole.
Skypig is like, it was so weird to. Normally, you go on Bandcamp, you see like the, you know, I saw their Spotify. It's like they have like a couple thousand, like 1,000 listens or something like that. And normally you hear that and you're like, oh god, this is like going to be some experimental shit. It was really good. I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah. I listened through, after I listened to all the stuff that of y'all's I hadn't listened to before, I went back and listened to their discography at work. I was like, man, these guys pretty fucking cool. Like, I like this shit.
It's interesting stuff.
So, next one, it's not Evan's pick, it's everyone's pick. And guess it.
Half.
Gotta be half.
Half! All that was promised.
I mean,
And
does
this
this need explanation?
Do we need to explain it? Seriously? Like, I know some of us, well, Evan and James didn't put it like as high as Jerry and I did, but do we really need to explain it? Because for me, it's number one for now.
a lot of why I had half lower on my list. I think they were number 6 on my list.
7.
7. The reason I had them so low was because of like listens, and I tend to be more, as I've grown, I've become more like Death Doom and more Doom and more, but like honestly black metal. Like I'm just more this way now because I need easy listens. I have this as a vinyl, and I love throwing it on if it's like, you know, I want to sit down, hang out, whatever. It's an awesome record. But I just think that as far as vibes go, that's just sort of like where I'm at in my life. And I do recognize that it's a fantastic piece of music. And definitely, like, we all have it on our list, but it's a shame and a crime that this isn't going to make most people's top lists of the year. You know, just because of, and it's all because of, like, publicity and, like, what their label is and everything. Like, that's... I find more people get so concerned about that shit that they just
that's like talking about the publicity, like Metal Injection. I think they posted every single music video and single they put out, but did not put them on their top 10. Like their underground. So they did like a top 20 underground, and I was just like, how are you gonna push this band every time a single come out and gush about them, but don't even put them in your top albums, like for the underground? Like that just makes no damn sense to me. But again, a lot of what Metal Injection does doesn't make sense to me either. So
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I don't really. I mean, I appreciate when like the metal media and stuff promote albums or artists that I wouldn't have otherwise heard of, or when I see an artist that I like and I see them getting mentioned and stuff, it's good. But I don't really, I really don't pay a lot of attention to it. I think the only one that I did was a German magazine called Deaf Forever. That's always really good. But anyway, what you were saying, Evan, is kind of how I feel about this album as well. It probably would have been higher if I'd listened to it more. But it's I don't know. I know that I put Immolation number 2 in my top 10, but to some extent, Immolation sort of goes in the same basket with Hath, in that I didn't really listen to these albums nearly as much as other albums that are also on my top 10, because I listen to a lot more death doom and black metal. This is kind of challenging music that I need to have like the mental space for, particularly Immolation. But Hath is a little bit the same. But it's a really, really wonderful album. Really good. I love the cover art. Yeah, really, really, really good. If shipping wasn't so expensive from North America these days, I would have bought a shirt.
Well, I bought 4 vinyls, so do I need to explain why it's very high and why do I love it? Seriously, I don't need to. But the only thing that I was a little bit not disappointed, the cover art is great. But Adam Berg, I think the problem with his art is sometimes he's repeating itself. I have another album from my top. I don't know if it will be, we will pick it.
He loves skulls. We'll say that.
He loves skulls. This is Incandescence, Le Cœur de l'Homme. Do you?
The nose is the same.
It resembles a lot. Don't you think? It resembles a lot.
And it also that album cover reminds me of the Terminal Nation.
Yeah, that's the band I was trying to think of. Yeah,
when I saw the skull, I was like, that looks like Terminal Nation's album cover.
Yeah,
as well.
I
don't know if Adam did that.
The Hath also has like the same colors, because they had the nuclear like Holocaust theme in the background, and so they had that lime green sort of floating in the back, and it does with the red sky. Like, there you go, dude. I think it was the guy who just passed,
Marius Lewandowski.
Yeah, I think that was him that did that. I want to say, who did the Terminals one.
Hang on, I'm just checking it on Bandcamp. Maybe they'll list the.
I think it's. I think I hate to say it, but I do think that Hath probably needs to get out of Willowtip to be like just like they have they could be on a bigger label, and I think that they just need, because Willowtip, for whatever reason, they don't hear a lot of their bands. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like on the platform of like touring and seeing everybody popping up, I never go, oh, that's a Willowtip band. It's always like, I don't know. I just never see them.
I mean, if we go on other labels, I think another label, you could put him on a big label like, I don't know, Unique Leader or something like this. But I think if they are still young and still little, I think Artisan Era could be a good label to just follow up to Willowtip. And after that, they could go on a bigger label. But that's only my opinion. But they could go on a bigger label already. The only problem with that, like I heard Unique Leader wants their band to go on tour often. So the thing is, I know Rob Wharton, the manager of Half, he said to me that those guys don't want to tour too much. They want to tour for sure, but they don't want to tour too much. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard Rob not right, but of what he said to me when I saw him last time, I think that's what he said. Like, Half don't want to tour too much. I know those guys are very busy in their lives. So But yeah, I know they are touring, but do they have the, let's say, what they do they have enough to go on something like Unique Leader, for example? I don't think so. I think they should probably not stay on Willowtip, but go on something small, but that can tour and can have a lot of publicity, if we can say so. So yeah, maybe Artisanera could be good for them, or another label like this, in the likes of. But yeah, so nothing else to say about half.
Hail half.
Hail half.
Hail
So,
Hell half.
and I shake and bake the fucking paper. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. I have one. Reveal in silence. Now it's my pick. It's Somme, The Shape of Everything.
Ah,
So I will start because it's my pick and I'm the only one that took it. That album for me, it was a big revelation in a way, because I was like, this one, it was the only one on my list that I was on Bandcamp one day and I wanted something new. And I was okay, let's check. And in metal category, I was like, yeah, it was okay. I found things, but I was like, not enough. So I go on that album and I'm like, it's called Dream Pop. I'm like, what is Doom Pop or something like this? I'm like, okay, what is that? And then I heard the first chords, the first vocal. I'm like, ooh, it's heavy, but the vocals is very hairy. It's very like, yeah, it's like, it's melancholic a little bit. So I was like, okay, it's pretty cool, but the chords, it's chunky, it's sludgy, but you have this like positive in a way. So I was like, yeah, it's fucking cool. I like it. And that's why it's number 8 on my top. It's very resembling to Moontooth in a way, but more sludgy.
I would disagree.
Okay, yeah, I know you will disagree because
I would
Moontooth is very
disagree.
high on your top.
Well, no, it's not. Moontooth is like they're like progressive and they're up,
Yeah.
where this is very sludge and down. It's
Yeah.
like it's like the opposite. The
It's
style,
the opposite.
the style is like somewhat the same, where you have, your vocals to your, like the structures are very much the same, but I don't really do melancholy, like in my metal. You know what I mean? It's very it kind. I've always felt like it fights each other when you're trying to like the overall come up with an image for a song or an album, and because to the degree, like, you can have very uplifting metal, but it sort of always has, like, at its center, it always has its very, like, its brutality, its doom, it's very, heavy on you. Whereas this is more, you don't really I don't feel it. The guitars, yeah, because you still, like, you can mimic that, but the overall encompassing feeling is just not, like, to me, I just don't feel like I listened to a metal album.
Okay.
so I had never heard of this band before, but I was, going through your lists and at least trying to listen to one or two songs. This, I don't think I've heard anything. I don't think I've heard this particular kind of blend of this very dreamy, sort of dream pop style vocals with the sort of sludgy, doomy guitar. But I haven't listened to it enough to sort of figure out whether whether it's something that I would like buy and listen to a lot. But I like the two sort of, I listen to a lot of stuff with this sort of like ethereal, dreamy sort of vocals. There's other bands that I like Jesu, for example, that will have extremely heavy guitars, but kind of very yeah, very. I don't know if I'd say pop in the case of Jezu, but very dreamy, ethereal, sort of not metal vocals. And for me, that works really well. I definitely do melancholy as well.
Mm.
Most of what I listen to is some sort of miserable bullshit. So I kind of like what I listen to. I liked it, and it's a for me it's an interesting combination.
All right.
Yeah,
Eh,
I listened to this one when it came out. I'm pretty sure I added it to the Brutal Awakenings playlist. Yeah, I really dug it as well. Um, like I was saying, the like heavier guitars with the like poppy dream pop. It shouldn't work, but it does work. Um, yeah, I thought this was a good album, and I hadn't listened to it in a while. And then, like I said, I went back. I knew I'd listened to it because the artwork
mm.
I had seen it. Like, oh yeah, I've listened to this, and yeah, going back on probably the second or third listen that I've done this year. I enjoyed it still. So
Okay. Perfect.
I can
Also, if I could, sorry,
go ahead.
you know, it's on Bandcamp. It's name your price. So you can go and check it out for free. If you like it, you can get it for nothing. The artists are putting it out there, and aren't even asking for any money for it. So I think this is definitely worth people going and checking out.
I
Yep.
will say, if you on Spotify, watch out. They have the instrumental version on there because I started listening to that and I was like, where are the vocals?
Hmm.
And I looked, I was like, oh shit, it's the instrumental one. So had to go back and find the right one. But yeah, it's a solid listen, and I could see why it would be on someone's top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good listen.
Well, it's on mine because like I like this style of metal. I'm very varied in what I listen. This year was very, very weird for me because I was mixing metal, extreme, with some rap and some rock and some classical. I don't know why I was like very everywhere, and maybe I wasn't like as like concentrated on metal than I was in 2021, for example.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
You're saying you're
um,
not a purist?
I
How can
don't.
you listen to
Okay,
anything but metal?
okay, so
How
Exactly.
could you
It's
do
insane.
that?
okay, so little parentheses before we continue. I have a question for everyone. Do you consider yourself a metalhead? I will answer for now. For me, I don't I considered once myself as a metalhead because I had only metal in my playlist, in my MP3, in my phone. I only had fucking metal. It was all I did listen to. But recently, mostly like in maybe 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, let's mix it up. Let's do something else. And I realized also some people, a minority, but a very noisy minority, are very purist and elitist, and I don't like this. And I'm like, you know what? Do I still consider myself a metalhead? And I really thought about it, and the answer is no. I consider as I consider myself as a musical nerd, but I don't consider myself as a metalhead. A musical head, maybe, but not a metalhead. Not anymore. I don't know for you, but yeah.
Uh,
I consider myself one, but I do listen to stuff outside of metal.
Mm, okay.
But I would say probably 90% of what I listen to is metal in
Mm,
some form or fashion. But yeah, there are days where I'm just like, man, I need something different. So I'll throw on stuff that I would have enjoyed in my younger years, non-metal stuff. So
okay.
you definitely need a palate cleanser from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself a metalhead, but I listen to a lot of other stuff. But I think that at least I think most of the metal bands that I listen to probably also are listening to other stuff. When you look at the other things that
Mm,
a lot of bands are incorporating into it, and people in metal bands will have projects that they're involved in that are non-metal projects. I kind of feel like this idea that gets pushed down, like kind of pushed in the metal community, of this idea of you're not a real fucking metal fan unless you dedicate yourself to this, only listening to metal, and that if you're listening to anything else, this kind of wimps and posers leave the whole fucking attitude from going back to Manowar in the 80s, of this idea of like there's the metalheads and they only listen to metal and they're like the enemies of everyone else. I fucking hate it. And all like the metal elitist people that want to act like metal's some sort of exclusive club, which is a particular problem in historically that's been a real problem in like black metal. Those people can fuck right off, because I have no time for any of this shit.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to impose their own personal ideas of fucking musical purity, I mean, it's also the death of musical inventiveness and creativity. I don't know who has the fucking energy to harass other people for what they listen to, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay.
I feel that being a metalhead means that you had that phase in your life where, I don't know, call it whatever, from this time to this time, where it was like you dove headfirst into everything extreme music, into like everything metal, like because everybody has like that sort of glow up story where they were like, yeah, I first heard, Kiss, and then it turned into, as James said, Manowar, and then it turned into Black Sabbath, and the next thing you know, Napalm Death, and then you're like, you kind of did this dive. So I think that there's, of course, the purists that think that you have to be like all-encompassing metal all the time, but I really think that being a metalhead is like you have this internal basis of like where your sound is, and that's sort of just your sound, and you kind of branch out of that. And then that's how you find all your other bands, and you find all your other genres and whatnot. And I that's what I think. I would consider myself a metalhead, because that's where a lot of my music is pretty much like lower, sludgy doom. That's just where it hits. I could find that in rock. There's rap that's like that. There's all sort like bluegrass. Like there's all sorts of different genres that have those qualities, and I think that that's kind of like what being a metalhead is about, is like you find how most people look at it as like, oh, I love something uplifting. Everybody wants to dance, but I don't want to dance, I want to vibe. And so what do I find? I need to find these sounds, and so that's kind of how I view it.
Okay.
I mean, and this idea of gateway bands that can get you into metal, for me, that's really worked both ways. There's been lots of things that I've discovered in metal that has got me into other genres. Like I was never a fan of American country music until I listened to primarily Panopticon, because they put it in their music, but also Neurosis, because two of the guys from Neurosis and also from Yob, they did like these cover albums of Townes Van Zandt songs. And I had never heard this before, and it just blew me away, because I thought like American country music was just like dudes singing about their fucking trucks and things. Like I just yeah, I mean that's certainly a presence within the musical landscape. But so for me, the whole gateway thing has worked both ways, and it's definitely been to the benefit
Interesting.
of my life. Yeah.
Okay, so parentheses is closed. Let's continue, shall we?
Number 5.
Number 5.
We got to get a pick in here, Jerry. Come on.
Go on now.
Got to get one. We're due.
Oh, we got a James pick.
All right.
There we go.
There.
Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
And I have the worst accent and the worst pronunciation of Spanish. Cruz con fines de la cordura. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you light us with this album, James?
Yeah, so this is, I can't even remember how I came across this. It may have even been Jerry that recommended it in the first
Ah,
place. I
Yeah, I
can't
think we were
remember.
talking. I think we were talking about Spanish death metal, and that
Yeah,
one
we
had like
were.
came out like that day or the day
Mm,
before, and like it hadn't really gotten a lot of traction yet.
mm. I mean, I really, really liked this, and the more I listened to it, the more it made me, the more it made me like it, because it's got this really good guitar sound. It's got this sort of this really, like a lot of bands do this now, but it's got this old school buzzsaw sort of dismember Scandinavian feel with the guitars, but it's very thrashy. It's got this the energy of it reminds me a little bit of the non-doom parts of Asphyx as well. Um, really, I love the fact that the album, well, they have an intro track which is frankly a waste of time, but the actual opening song is it opens with a solo, and I always like it when fucking bands have got the balls to do crazy shit like that. It's really, really good head-banging music, great vocals with a lot of reverb on them, and yeah, I think for I don't want to say that it's for me it's my actually my favorite death metal album of the year, but I think if I want to throw on an album that's like more of like fucking party death metal, like if I want to listen to something that's got really good energy that I can throw on and immediately enjoy myself without having to, you know, really focus on it or think too much about it like with Immolation or Hath maybe, then this is just a perfect album. I really love this.
okay. Perfect. I haven't listened to it too much, to be fair, because so much album. But I believe you. This album could be good. I will listen to it more after. But yeah, that's my take on it because I have nothing.
I definitely think we need more Spanish death metal. I think that they have a pretty, just from like a lot of the bands coming up in like the black metal scene. Like Jerry's band there, Guerra, aren't they from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're from Portugal.
from Portugal. Right next to each other.
Hmm.
You know, but sort of like that idea. Like I really enjoy seeing sort of just like the other countries embracing what I feel has been plastered on. Everyone says the Norwegian black metal sound, you know, because that obviously it started in Norway and it started in that area, but it's nice to kind of feel like, you know, what would black metal sound like if you were up by a beach and it wasn't cold all the time and, you know, you could have a martini, you know?
It's really funny how terrifying some of the music that comes out of Spain is um because my wife grew up in Spain, so we spend a lot of time, like pretty much every year that we've lived in Germany, we go back to the south of Spain. It is not really a place that seems conducive to I mean, it's conducive to metal, sure, but the kind of metal that they put out, like some of the Death Doom stuff, like Ataraxy, which was on my top 10, it's fucking really frightening, cavernous, evil sounding music, and you're like, how are you, as you say, like how are you on the fucking beach? Because a lot of these bands are
How you write this outside?
they're from fucking like I think some of these bands are like from Barcelona as well, and Barcelona is a it's like a beautiful beach party town. It doesn't seem like Death Doom territory, but you know, the darkness comes from within.
Yes, definitely.
I mean,
Yeah, and
mine not. Yeah.
I enjoyed this album a lot too, and I think the reason I probably would left it off is the amount of listens is because it was only on Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't so, like I do most of my consuming on Spotify, and I occasionally go on Bandcamp. I feel like if it had gotten put on Spotify, I would have listened to it a lot more, and it could have been in my top 10. But yeah, it's like James was saying, it comes right out of the gate with a fucking guitar solo, and you're like, that okay, yeah, shit, yeah, like we're starting this party off right, and it's a good listen, and I think it's only their second album, if I'm not mistaken. But Spain has had a really good year, especially with death metal and death doom. It's just like every few weeks, I'm just like, God damn, another great metal album from Spain. Like, What's in the water over there, or what's in the beer?
Tropical fish and just endorphins. That's pretty much what you get.
Yeah.
Speaking of drink, I switch it up because I have no smoothie left and I'm dumb, like always. I have some maple gin.
Phil starting the
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, like, hey, it's nearly my last week of job before the Christmas, so I don't care.
I might join you in it. I might join you in a gin in a second, but it's in the kitchen, so I'd have to take a break.
All right,
Yeah.
so real quick, we got Sky Pig, Moontooth, Hath, Soam, and Cruise. Let's rank these 5 before we get to the next 5. We'll start with Sky Pig. It was first. Where do you want to put Sky Pig?
I'll put it second. Because I know one that is over that.
Is
For
Hath
me,
first?
I'd say half is top.
Okay.
Half is first. Half is first for me. But
Yeah.
let's say half first. I would like
Sky.
right
I
now,
would say
because
Sky Pig is second for me.
Okay, because I have the paper in front of me, and I just like with all your opinions about those, I did a top myself. For now, I have half first, Sky Pig second. Moontooth was very divisive, some less. I would say my top is like right now we have half first, Sky Pig second. I would say Cruise maybe third or some at third base. I don't know for you, but I hesitate. Let's say Cruise third. I don't know if you agree with me on that because I haven't listened to it, so
I think that seems fair to me. I mean, I think that everybody enjoyed Sky Pig, and I think everybody listened to it as well. So we can all have a sort of informed opinion about that.
So Sky Pig is second. Cruise. I was talking more about Cruise. I think Cruise is pretty good, even though I haven't listened to it. So let's say Cruise on third. I have some on fourth and Moontooth on 5.
I agree.
I did the
Yeah, I know,
opposite. I had Moontooth fourth and Soam 5, but
Okay, so I don't know for you, James and Jerry.
I would agree. I enjoyed some way more than I did.
all right.
Once
so
I
you agree
figured
with
out what the bands were.
Okay, so you know what? I will put I will put Moontooth and Soam at the same place for now.
Or A and
For
4B.
It's
Fighting it
number
out.
4. It will be number 4 for the moment, but let's
Battle of the Soft.
Yeah, Battle of the Soft, exactly. So let's do it like a real top 10 like I didn't do this year.
All right.
Yeah. So
Can I take a 2-minute break to just get a drink?
exactly. I was
All right, very good.
intermission. And during that intermission, I want to present our sponsor of today, Le Très Carré. Let's present our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Do you sit at home and stare at your phone? Well, you might as well play a game while you do it.
No, Manscaped.
Get your in the next 3 days, use code Phil likes to add multiple things on his list of 10. Whispers from the
Phil's-
void, 10.
Phil's top 11 is your code.
Yeah, Phil's top 11. And you too will get this dwarf that they modeled after Phil's image. Called
Okay, so little question: if you are a character in Raid Shadow Legends, what would you be? I agree with the dwarf for me. Even though I'm just 6. No, I'm 5'11", but yeah, I could be a dwarf. Like a very tall dwarf. Let's say that.
I would want to be
The very best.
That no one ever was. I would fuck. I would want to be an orc, but I would want to be an orc from like the Warhammer 40k series. Like,
Yeah, that's
I would
what
want
I
to be
thought.
one of those. I would want to be a
Wag.
boy.
Hey, let's go to Wag.
That's what I would want to be.
But yeah. No, oh yeah. The orc from Warhammer. Yeah, I would love that.
I would just like to exist things because I believe in them.
Yeah, and also like if like my car will be red because I think red is faster.
Red is fast.
Yeah.
Red is fast.
Red makes you want to go fast.
Yeah, but
goes
like
fast.
if you don't know the Warhammer franchise, the thing is with orcs, it's like they are very stupid kind of race. So, but they are like if enough people believe in something, if enough orcs believe in it, well, it will
works. It
realize. It will happen. So like if your car is red and you think red is faster, it will make your car faster. Even though it's a piece of shit, you will go faster with that
It
piece
has
of
like
shit.
it has no engine, like nothing. It has wheels that they put next to it, but because it's red and it has wheels, they say it goes fast, and then it goes fast. So you're like,
Yeah.
their guns don't even have bullets. They just fucking-
Zaka!
they just shoot. I don't know what they're shooting.
Yeah, and
fucked up.
they're just fucking beasts.
Yeah, gotta love it.
See, I just recently heard of Warhammer. I've never been into the RPG type stuff, but Sam, the bass player from Frozen Soul, went to a Warhammer store, and I didn't know what it was. It was like Warhammer store and cafe. So and the way the store was built, and like it looked like a Yankee Candle. Like it was like a sky blue color and these like very like simple font and like real quaint and nice antique looking. And then I was like, what the hell is this? Because I follow her on Instagram. So I like Googled it because it's here in Dallas. And I'm like looking, I'm like, I would have never guessed this store would have been full of like Magic the Gathering and all these guys sitting there playing like Magic the Gathering and Warhammer. Like I had no idea it was like a game. I just thought it was like some antique type place based on the picture she had posted. I was like, I would never guess this would have been filled with guys playing Magic the Gathering and other games.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it looked really cool because they had like all the books and stuff and all the characters. Like I was looking through their like pictures and stuff. Like, oh, that's really cool. Like,
Where
it's
is
not
this?
It's actually in Grapevine, Texas.
No. What is it? Is it a bar or something?
No, it's like Warhammer is some kind of like RPG game, similar like the Magic and like the Lord of the Rings RPG games that you can play, like tabletop type stuff. But yeah, it was a store, but like I was telling them, it looked like something you'd see on the beach in like Cape Cod or Martha's Vineyard, like
Cool.
very soft colors on the outside and like just the normal font. You know, I'm thinking of a game like that. I'm thinking like a black store facade with like these like archaic, angry looking letters.
They have the Alliance and the Horde flags outside.
Yeah, that's what I feel like that would be there, not some like Martha's Vineyard looking store where you're going in to get your like artisanal breads and cheeses.
I actually played multiple different Games Workshop games, so like Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and all that shit. I played and all those, a lot of RPGs as well during high school. I was a shut-in nerd, I suppose.
Who was your army?
In Warhammer it was Chaos. In Warhammer 40k it was Dark Angels, Space Marines.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, I've never played Warhammer 40k, but I know a lot of people, most of my closer friends that are fans of Warhammer and that have armies and all. I know one of my friends is playing orcs. My other friend, I don't know what he's playing, but I'm not a big nerd about Warhammer because I think the story is very complicated. I know my friend got so much books about it.
It's
so much.
Yeah, it's
but
cool.
but yeah, I'm not like the biggest Warhammer nerd, but I know some of the factions and all, and I'm like, I mean, the orcs are fucking epic. We have.
I wish I'd played orcs because orcs are so much fucking fun. Because
orcs,
they are fun. That's the thing.
Orcs is awesome.
I used to play orcs too.
I played Blood Bowl for a while as well, and I used to play orcs and dwarves. Orcs were always more fun because they're just chaotic.
They're just
great.
place.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
Next pick.